Regret is an incredibly powerful emotion. What would have happened if we wouldn't have missed out on that opportunity? Or if we would have chosen to be by their bedside as they passed away? Or if we would have stayed in that relationship just to see what would have happened? Regret can be a trap and a tormentor, but it can also be a teacher. Let's talk about that. Regret involves loss of a relationship, an opportunity, a reputation or standing or position in life, or losing something or someone we valued. And typically, this regret of loss brings some really strong emotions, things like pain or nagging guilt or even shame. Too often, these negative emotions give regret power in our lives to keep us stuck. And the choices that we make in how we respond to regret have the potential to either make us bitter or to make us better. As I've mentioned, regret can have a way of trapping us and tormenting us, or we can choose to let it be a teacher and grow through it. But real quickly, if these videos have been helpful for you, maybe consider subscribing or leave a comment, like the videos, or even share them. Also, you can download a free ebook from me over on my website, awordtothewise.co. The link is down in the description below. Now back to dealing with regret. Life is full of choices and trade-offs. We can't have it all. In a healthy situation, you're not going to be able to be married or in relationship to multiple people. You have to choose. You can't go into 5 different career directions. You have to choose. We learn how to interact in this world as we grow. We try to figure out which is the best choice in situations that we've never even encountered before. We say something dumb, or, we have words come out of our mouth or actions that we make that we wish we could take back. We are consistently presented with choices. In a life full of choices, it's unlikely that we will make it through life without any regrets. Regret, not always, but often has to do with wonder. In other words, we regret choices we made because we wonder if things may have turned out better. Of course, different sets of decisions and choices would produce probably different results. But in all honesty, in some cases, we really don't know if it would have been better or not. The trap and the torment of regret is the unknowing and the nagging of not being able to go back and do it differently. We can't go back. Today is not yesterday, and it never will be. We can, however, go forward. So how do we go forward and let regret be a teacher? Let me offer just a couple of thoughts. First, you need to forgive yourself. I recently did a video on the importance of forgiveness that I'd like to encourage you to go and watch. I'll leave a link to this video down in the description. Even though the content in there is directed at forgiving others, this applies to us forgiving ourselves as well. Let me explain. So we need to get to the point where we release ourselves from the trap of beating ourselves up and ruminating over our past. Some of the reasons that we don't forgive can be things like we don't believe they deserve it, they may do it again, or we haven't even punished them enough for this mistake. We can apply some of these same reasons to ourselves as we struggle to let go of regret. Dealing with unforgiveness toward ourselves is an important first step in moving on from regret. Second, perhaps we think that since we often think about the regret or the circumstances around it, that we're actually working through the regret. Ruminating is not dealing with it or learning from it. Regret has power when we haven't either learned the lesson from the wrong choice or the loss, or we feel that we're still stuck in that place or tied to that place in life to some degree. In other words, we still see ourselves as that person or bound by those decisions or the outcome of the choices. It's interesting how we can allow ourselves to swim in negative emotions of regret, but at the same time avoid working through the feelings that are associated with growing and moving on. We fail at something, we develop regret, and now we've built a little wall around ourselves, and we're limited by fear of failing and doing something stupid again. Don't just take a road that you feel is easier and then just end up staying in a place where you're trapped. Let me explain with a story. When I was a young boy, I was riding my bike around the block in our neighborhood. There was another young boy in our neighborhood that ended up throwing a ball, and it came and lodged in the front spokes of my front tire. And as that tire came around and caught in the fork, my bike came to an abrupt stop, but I didn't. I flew over the handlebars and I ended up skidding across the pavement. I rushed home pretty scraped up and quite honestly pretty bloody. I know this is a bit graphic, but my cuts were, full of dirt. And I could have just looked at the dirt and sat there with regret. Why did I choose to ride my bike around the block? I could have said, it already hurts. I'm just going to leave that dirt in there. What I needed to do was to wash the dirt out of my wounds. This was really painful at the time, but in the long run, it was better for my healing. Don't let yourself just sit there and stare at the dirt in your wounds. What mistake did you make? What can you own up to? What can you learn from that choice or missed opportunity? What would you do differently? What changes can you make now to do things differently today? It's true that choices in the past can affect our present, but you're not in yesterday. You're in today. What can you do today? You can choose to sit and ruminate because you can't go back in time and change it, or you can decide to scrub that dirt out and get it out of the wound and move on so you can heal. In doing so, we're taking steps to remove the hook that regret has within us. Depending upon what the regret is, think of ways that you can create something in the present that either complements the desire that you missed by that loss or aligns with what you value today. Let me give you an example. Imagine that you didn't take a certain career direction, or maybe you accumulated a lot of debt. I'm not saying that it's going to be easy, but with some level of discipline, you can take at least some steps to paying off debt or change your career trajectory. Another example, if you were a woman or a couple, for example, that chose not to have children in your younger years, and now you're in a place of your late 40s and you want children. Of course, that might not be biologically possible, but could you look for other opportunities to volunteer with a local organization serving some children? Or how can you contribute or leave a good impact that would satisfy some of that desire? The key is moving your attention from what isn't to what's possible. A real travesty is when we never learn the lessons of the mistakes that we've made that we now regret. We should learn and we should move on. If we don't, we'll be stuck in the past, oftentimes right in the place in life where that failure or regret happened. Stop letting regret of the past define your present and your future. It's a trap. Thanks for joining me today for A Word to the Wise. My name is Doug Ebertowski. If this has been helpful, maybe consider subscribing, liking the video, sharing it, or even leaving a comment. Also, go over to my website, awordtothewise.co.co. The link is down in the description. There you can download a free ebook from me. Last but not least, maybe consider checking out some of my other videos. Until next time, be wise.